It all starts with a date, October 1929.
Imagine a teacher in Ohio. Now, she's not some Wall Street player. She never bought a stock, never gambled, never speculated on a thing in her life. She's just walking to her bank to pull out a few dollars for rent. A totally normal, everyday task. But when she gets there, the doors are locked. And it's not just closed for the day. No, it's closed for good. Her life savings just gone. And she wasn't alone. In just 48 hours, $30 billion simply vanished. To put that in perspective, that's an entire world war's worth of wealth wiped out in 2 days. So the big question is, where did her money go? Well, if you tried to trace it, you'd need a lawyer and a map. And this might sound familiar, right? Your own retirement account is probably in some fund that owns other funds that own something called derivatives. Sounds complicated, doesn't it? Well, that's the whole point. The complexity, that's the weapon. You've heard the official story. They told you it was greed, they told you it was panic, but you know what? That's a lie. This wasn't an accident. It was 3 deliberate tricks, and we're about to uncover every single one of them. All right, let's break down the first trick. But to really get it, I want you to forget about stocks for a second. Instead, just think about something simple, like concert tickets. Imagine a group of insiders. They go out and buy up 90% of all the tickets. Okay, so now they control the supply. Next, they pay a newspaper to run a story, greatest concert in history. You see that and you get that fear of missing out, right? That FOMO. So you pay 10 times the original price just to get in. But here's the catch. Once they've sold every last ticket, they vanish. And the band, they never even play. That little scam? Well, in the 1920s, bankers did this every single day. They just give it a fancy name, an investment pool. Take RCA, for example. It was the big tech stock of its day. A secret group of insiders pumped its value up 61 points in just 4 days. How? They just traded it back and forth with each other to fake demand. So people like you rushed in thinking it was real. And the moment you did, they dumped it all, and you were left holding the bag. When the president of the biggest bank, a guy named Charles Mitchell, was asked if he felt responsible for selling these garbage stocks to regular people, teachers, factory workers, his defense was basically the drug dealer's argument. We sell securities, not advice. In other words, I sold you the pills. What you do with them is your problem. And the wildest part? It was all perfectly legal. But believe it or not, that was just the first trick. Now for trick number 2, the pyramid. See, usually you buy a stock in a company because it actually makes something, right? Cars, steel, shoes, something real. But Wall Street got creative. They invented companies that made, well, absolutely nothing. They called it an investment trust. Think of it like an empty box. All it did was hold stock in other companies. Goldman Sachs, for example, launched one of these trusts. It got so popular, they launched another trust just to hold shares of the first one, and then a third to hold shares of the second. You see what's happening? It's just boxes inside of boxes inside of boxes. It's a whole tower built on nothing but debt. And here's the trap in that design. This whole structure created a massive amount of leverage. So if the value at the very bottom of the pyramid dropped by just, say, 1%, it didn't just cause a small loss at the top. No, the leverage exploded that tiny drop all the way up the chain, creating a catastrophic, explosive collapse. So by 1932, shares in Goldman's top-level trust, the one at the peak of the pyramid, had collapsed from $121 all the way down to this, $1.75. Those empty boxes ended up crushing everyone. Okay, so you've got a rigged pump and a tower of debt. But even that isn't enough to break the entire world. To pull that off, you need one more piece. You have to infect the general public. And that brings us to the third and final trick, the trap. See, the whole Roaring '20s economy was basically bought on credit. You wanted to buy a $100 stock? You didn't need $100. You only had to put down 10. Your broker would just loan you the other 90. This was called buying on margin. And suddenly, everyone was a stock market genius. Chauffeurs, cooks, teachers, they all started treating it like a magic savings account that paid out 20%. Then came October 24th. The market just dipped. And all those brokers who loaned out all that money, they made what's called a margin call, demanding people pay back the cash they borrowed. The problem? Nobody had it. And so millions of automatic sell orders hit the market all at once. The ticker tape, the thing that showed the prices, fell hours behind. People were literally selling blind into a total terrifying freefall. But here is the final brutal betrayal. Where do you think the banks got the money for all those speculative loans? They used the everyday deposits of regular people. People like that teacher back in Ohio. So when the market crashed and all those loans went bad, the casino lost everything. And that's when the doors locked. Her money, it was just gone. Look, this isn't just some dusty history lesson. The scary part is, we didn't learn, not really. In 2008, and even right now, today, the same 3 tricks are still playing out. They just have different names. The pattern never changes. Think about it. The pump, which they used to call investment pools, today that's influencers pumping up meme stocks and crypto. The pyramid of those empty investment trusts, well, that became the collateralized debt obligations, the famous CDOs, that blew up the economy in 2008. And the trap of 10% margin buying, it's back in the form of zero-down mortgages and those super easy leverage options you see on trading apps. It is the exact same song, just a different band. So you have to wonder, what happened to the guys who designed this whole rigged game? Well, let's go back to Charles Mitchell, the most powerful banker in America at the time. So this is a man who sold toxic securities to thousands of people. He dodged his own taxes, he gambled with the public's deposits, and what were the consequences for him? Well, he got investigated by the Senate, he was tried for fraud, he was acquitted, he paid a fine, and then he retired to a mansion. 0 days in prison. The crash didn't destroy the people who caused it. It destroyed the people who trusted them. So you see, this wasn't a panic. It wasn't a market correction. It was a system designed to transfer wealth from the outsider to the insider. That concert ticket scam, the Tower of Debt, the 10% trap, they all worked for one simple reason. People stopped asking what a company actually did and only cared about how fast its stock would go up. Once you see the pattern, you stop asking why the crash happened. You start asking a much more important question. Why does it keep happening? And the answer, unfortunately, is simple. The system is working exactly as it was designed to. Look, you can't stop the casino from operating. But once you can spot the rigged tickets, the Tower of Debt, and the leverage trap, well, at least you can stop playing the games where you know the house is always going to win.